Okay, we're going to be doing Unit 1, Lesson 12, Defining Translations, which is on page 82. For this lesson, you need a piece of patty paper and a ruler. I'm going to go grab my materials, and I'll be right back. Ruler. Oh no. Dropped all my patty paper. Oh well. Patty paper. This stuff is $8.95 for 1,000 sheets. So spend $10. Get 1,000 of these. These are designed in the real world as what goes in between hamburger patties. That's why they call it patty paper, to separate hamburger patties, but it works great as tracing paper, and patty paper is much less expensive than tracing paper, so I recommend you get some. You can always borrow some from my classroom. So here we go. Also, this is a good little segue. If you ever drop patty paper on the floor, pick it up. It's really important. Because we got to keep the classroom clean. If it's messy and dirty, no one can learn. Alright, here we go. Got my patty paper. I'm going to turn down the fans. It's too windy in here. Okay, so let's look at this problem. Make sure you can see it okay. All right, here we go. Lesson 12, defining translations. Let's translate some figures. Okay. So this is one of those notice and wonder questions. They give us two triangles and an arrow. So it's pretty easy. You just gotta answer these questions. What do you notice? What do you wonder? I'm gonna try to remember what people said yesterday in class, but for you all following along on the video, if this is your first time seeing the video and you weren't in class for whatever reason, I would start making a list. So just go notice and wonder. That's my recommendation on these problems. Make a bulleted list. That way you can just input as you go. Just create yourself like a nice little framework to organize your thoughts. Okay, so what do you notice? What do you wonder? Well, one thing I noticed, and a lot of people said this blue triangle has C, D, and E labeled, but this yellow, orange, I guess, tan triangle does not. So blue triangle has C, D, E. We'll just call it yellow. That's close enough. Yellow triangle does not. A lot of people noticed that there was this, what looks like a ray called V. So what, ray V. So a lot of people noticed ray V just sitting over here. And then a couple people said, why is V like away from the triangles? So a lot of people said that, which is a wondering. Basically, a wondering is like, what questions do you have, essentially? All right, so there's 2 noticings and a wondering. Let's see some others. These triangles look to have the same size and shape, which would be 2 congruent triangles. So a lot of people said, like, are the triangles congruent? Which is a great question. What other noticings could you say? Let's see. Trying to think here. Yeah, let me do a wondering. This one came up. So a lot of people recognize that, like, the distance from like E to this point was basically the same as V. So a lot of people said, like, is this a translation? I thought that was pretty cool. Now another noticing is in the yellow, we'll call it yellow triangle, there are not any prime labels. That was a pretty insightful comment that I saw. Like, people are starting to recognize, shouldn't that be E prime and D prime and C prime? So there's no, in other words, there's no D prime, E prime, or C prime. Because people are starting to recognize that if you see prime labels, that's your hint that prime labels represent an image or a copy. People are starting to recognize that, which I'm thrilled with. So anyway, that's just some things that I noticed teaching the class yesterday. We did a notice and wonder. So on that, again, just make your list, and it's an easy way to do it. Okay, that's the first problem, about 9 minutes. Half of it was me getting set up, which is part of the process. So I just want to kind of teach you how I operate. Just face these problems head on and do your best, and let's move on to the next. Okay, 12.2, this is on page 89. I'm going to zoom out until I'm ready, but let's read the directions. So 12.2 is called What's the Point? Translations. Now, number 1 says, after a translation, remember, a translation is one of the rigid transformations. So the rigid transformations are translations, rotations, and reflections. So you got translations, rotations, and reflections. I'm going to zoom in because I'm gonna have to zoom in and out on this one, which is fine. Well, maybe not. Okay, cool. So after a translation, the image of V right here is W right here. So after a translation, V goes to W is what they're saying. Okay? Let's go ahead and draw that. Here we go. So after a translation, V becomes W. Okay, cool. Find at least 3. So at least 3, that means there's probably more than 3. You gotta find 3 examples, 3 other points that are taken to a labeled point by that translation. So what that means is find 2 points where, like, just like V, you start at V and you go this distance and direction to get to another labeled point. Now, once you see me do it, I think it'll be a little clearer. So V to W, and it's gonna be this distance and this direction. So this distance, this direction. All right. How could you do it? Well, you could first start thinking about how long is it? It's an inch. So this is 1 inch. I know that. So I'm looking for things that are 1 inch apart and in that direction. So let's just take a look. Z to Y looks good. So I'm gonna guess that one's one of them. So you just try your best. We're just gonna start drawing as many as we find. All right, let's look U to R. That looks good. Let me just triple check. That's an inch. So let's draw that one. Okay. What about T to P? Let's see. Yeah, it's an inch. T to P, right there. How about Q to L? O to K looks about an inch. Yeah. How about M to J? Hey, Michael Jordan, it's 2023. It's his year. He gets the whole year because he's the best. How about Green Bay Packers? I got Jordan Love as a quarterback. I think he's going to do pretty well. Aaron Rodgers just tore his Achilles. I can't believe it. He's out for the year. How about A to E? EA Sports. It's in the game, right? I'm running Video Game Club this year. IC, Infinite Campus. We do use that every day as teachers. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's the bell. It's my prep period, so it's my chance to videotape. Anyway, these are all the ones that I found that went this distance, which was 1 inch, and the same direction. Now, what do you notice? They said at least 3. I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So number 2 asks you to write. So you're gonna use this puppy. You gotta write at least one conjecture about translations. Remember, conjecture. Educated guess. See glossary. for more. It's basically an educated guess, hypothesis. Get in the habit of finding synonyms for words. It's a really big skill. So a conjecture. Let's go back to our glossary. What is a conjecture? See what the official definition is. Hey, there it is. A reasonable guess that you are trying to either prove or disprove. Okay, cool. So we gotta make a reasonable guess here. So write at least one reasonable guess about translations. Remember, translation, one of the rigid transformations. So I'm gonna say, looking at all these lines that were translated 1 inch in this direction, they all have a few things in common. So you could say a number of things. You could say, I think, this is my personal favorite one, I think is a great, I think ... is a great way to start a conjecture. So, I think all translations require a directed line segment and all directed line segments are, here's the keyword. Let's see if you can mentally get it on video. Starts with the P. I think all translations require a directed line segment, and all directed line segments are, what's that word I'm thinking of? I'll give you RSTLNE. Here we go. There's an R, L, L, E, L. RSTLNE. So I think all translations require a directed line segment, and all directed line segments are parallel. Look at these lines, they're all parallel. These directed line segments. Okay, 2 is done. Let's go to number 3. All right. In a new translation, the image of V is Z. Okay. Time out. Well, let's think about that. All right. So in a translation, the image, the copy of V is Z. That means that this point V is now this point Z. And you know from the last one, they require a directed line segment. So let's do that. And I'm going to go in dashed line. They look to be 2 inches. So we're doing dashed line. 2 inches. Okay, so I understand what they mean now. Find at least 3. So at least 3. That means there's going to be more than 3 options. Other points. So you start with another point that are taken to a labeled point. So a point with a letter. By the new translation. Remember, the new translation is directed line segment VZ. Okay, so you gotta hunt. You gotta look for 2 points that are 2 inches apart, and their line will end up being parallel to VZ. Okay, here's one, HR. I used to sell back in the day. Well, not that far back. Human resources software. That was my last job before I decided to become a teacher instead. HR looks good. Let's double check. 2 inches. I'm thinking that one's good. So we're doing dash lines. In fact, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna do dash and color. Just to make sure you can see this okay. All right. So now we got some clearer ideas. Now, I'm thinking LT is a little too short, and I am correct, because we're looking for 2 inches. So LT is out. Let's think of some others. Ooh, FP looks good. Yeah, 2 inches. I'm thinking that's good. Let's draw a dash line and then color it in and see if it looks parallel. Because we got some new learning there. We learned that all the directed line segments end up being parallel. It's pretty cool. We'll just draw the arrows too. Those all look parallel. I think we're good. What about the Golden State Warriors? Right? 2 inches? Yeah. Season's gonna start usually around Halloween. I wonder if Steph and Clay and Draymond can get their 4th title. I think Iguodala might even get a ring. Who knows? Anyway, Warriors are something special. They had quite a run. So fun to watch. I remember, I'm a big Kobe fan, but when Kobe was, when he scored 60 in 2020 on his last game, like all the Warriors came out to congratulate him. They all worshipped Kobe. Anyway, I went from the Kobe Lakers, and then I moved up to the Bay Area in 2011. So I was so lucky. I got to catch the rise of Steph Curry. And I remember watching in, I think it was 2015, the Warriors won 24 in a row to start the season. They were literally 24-0. It was so much fun to watch. Anyway, there's one more, I think WY, maybe? Let's just double check. Yeah, WY. Those are the letters for the state of Wyoming. Anyway, try to make it fun as much as possible. All right, that looks good too. So my first conjecture, C, orange, dashed lines. I think I found 1, 2, 3, 4. There's probably a few others too. Let's see. Maybe, no, I already talked about LT. Oh, DN. Yeah, DN looks good. Let's try DN. Yeah, that one's good. There's a few that are just barely not parallel. Just a couple. This one looks good too. Yep. I wonder if there's any I missed. CM? No, CM's not gonna work. Alright, so I found 5. I'm gonna leave it at that. Maybe there's one I missed, I don't know. Here's a good example though, like HU, like not only is it not 2 inches, but it's also not parallel. So if you find like LT was parallel, but it wasn't the right size, there's probably one over here that's 2 inches. Yeah, here's a good example. FQ is 2 inches, but it's not parallel. See FQ? But it's not parallel to all these others. So they're trying to teach you something. And the big lesson is in translations, you need a directed line segment. For example, VW or VZ, Volkswagen or Venezuela? I don't know. You need a directed line segment, and all translated points will form parallel line segments. And that held true for the orange lines. It held true for just the regular black lines. So orange lines all parallel. Black lines are all parallel. They're all taking the same distance and direction. 27 minutes in. We're going slow for a reason. This is challenging to remember it all. So just remember the rigid transformations: translation, rotation, reflection. If you do a translation, you're going to end up with something, a figure, shape, point that's congruent. So W becomes Y, V becomes Z. The points are congruent, of course, but it applies to shapes too. So that's what we're going to learn next. All right. This is why I recommend colored pencil. It's all ugly. I'm going to go get a different workbook. Okay, so now we're on to translating triangles. I'm gonna try to learn a lesson here and use colored pencil instead. Guess it's the orange day. Go Giants! All right, or Padres. I think the Padres are too far out, so they're like 7.5 games out. The wild card, and the Giants are like half a game right now, but they're currently on a nice little streak. Half game out of the last wild card, so hopefully the Giants can pull it out. All right, so translating triangles. Here we go. Translate. So we know what a translation is. It moves. So translate triangle ABC by the, oh, there it is again, directed line segment from A to C. So basically every point will be taken from A to C. So let's start with A. If A goes to C, then this new A prime is going to be right where C is. So we could call that A prime. It's also C. So I know that was a lot. If A is being translated by a directed line segment AC, that means A prime will end up right there. Think about that for a second. Now, it may click when you see this. B is also translated by this distance and direction. So it's gonna go just a little bit down by that distance. So I'm gonna actually show you the best way to do it. The best way is to use patty paper. So let's just draw our directed line segment. Our directed line segment is AC. I use a straight edge. It's always better. Yeah. So every point gets translated by AC. So let's go to B. B has to be translated by AC, this distance and direction. So the challenge is like making sure this line is parallel to this. Now, if it's a little bit off, on the parallel, but you still kind of nail this part, I'm probably going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you got to try your best to make that line and that line what's called parallel. You draw little arrows stating parallel labels. But what I do is I put a little point through the patty paper, which then goes to here. And I call this B prime. So let's look at that again. So A became A prime. B becomes B prime. And they're all translated by this directed line segment AC. New learning. So I understand if this is tough, but you can always rewind the video. All right, so we still have one more point because we don't have C prime yet, but I know it's going to be like over here. And I also know it's going to be on the same line, which is kind of cool. So here's one little way you could kind of cheat a little bit. You know it's going to be on this line. You just know. You're going to find that out soon. But I want to show you another little trick. This will guarantee you that this line is parallel to this. Now, we need to get the right distance. We have the direction, but we got to get the right distance. So, just we're translating by AC, which we traced, right? So let's just move that one there. We'll line it up with that next line we just drew. Perfect. And then you push down so it leaves an indentation. Try not to break your pen. But anyway, there it is. And that is C prime. Now, last but not least, you got to connect the dots. What's cool is if you put the indentation through, it's like easy to start and stop. It's kind of cool. Cool little strategy. So if you put the indentation through, it's like a nice start and stop. Kind of cool. And I gotta finish this line. I got it straight to that like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and shade this in. Hopefully you can see it okay. Since it's Giants playoff run day. And again, quick reminder, coloring is a stress reliever. Even when you're older. Hang on, sorry. someone's knocking. That's the image of A, B, C is A prime, B prime, C prime. I'll be right back.
Good morning, LPS Richmond, and happy Thursday. Please pardon the interruption. This is Mrs. Chavarria with your morning announcements and phone trivia. Today you have blocks 2, 4, advisory, and 6 with a 3:45 p.m. dismissal time. Your passing periods will be 10 minutes except after lunch. Today we will also have a club fair in the quad area during lunchtime, so please stop by. Remember that tomorrow we do not have classes in celebration of Latinx Heritage Month. Hispanic Heritage Month takes place September 15th to October 15th every year as a time to recognize and celebrate the many contributions, diverse cultures, and extensive histories of the American Latino community. Beginning in 1968, Hispanic Heritage Month was originally observed as Hispanic Heritage Week, but it was later extended to a month in 1988. Since then, HHM, or Hispanic History Month, has been celebrated nationwide through festivals, art shows, conferences, community gatherings, and much more. The month also celebrates the independence days of several Latin American countries, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. On September 15th, Mexico is on September 16th, and Chile on September 18th. They also include holidays that recognize Hispanic contributions, such as Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico Friendship Day, that is celebrated in the U.S. Virgin Islands. For school news, for the safety of all staff and students, please do not open the main front door or 8th Street gates to anyone. The main office must confirm the identity of all visitors before they are allowed campus access. 11th and 12th grade students can get a locker next week. Please listen for announcements for more details. Seniors, please pick up a senior contract. They are due on September 20th. Seniors, your contracts determine your eligibility for all senior events, including graduation. Please read your contract carefully as it lists requirements and commitments regarding grades, attendance, testing, and other financial obligations. Please reach out to Dean Jenkins if you have any questions. Clubs and sports announcements. African American Students of the Diaspora, BSU, meets every Friday at lunch. Please see Mr. Bloom for more details, and prepare to elevate Black History 365. Join Raíces. It is a cultural club that will allow you to learn more about your culture and celebrate it. Please see Ms. Reyes for more details. Please be sure to attend the club fair today for a special surprise sponsored by the Club Raíces. Explore Your Faith with Jesus Club. Contact Ms. Valle for more information. Do you enjoy music? Please see Mr. Bloom to join the music club. Are you interested in making a positive impact on your school community? Student government applications are now available in the atrium. This is your chance to get involved and help shape our school's future. The deadline for applications is today, September 14th. Calling all aspiring debaters. It's not too late to flex your argumentative skills with a practice space. Don't miss out on your opportunity to refine your skills and engage in lively discussions every Tuesday after school. Standout participants will qualify to apply for summer coaching jobs that pay up to $30 an hour. Please see Ms. Chavarria for more details. Real Oakland is working with LPS Richmond. Please see Ms. Pye for more information regarding times. Now for today's phone trivia. Every day this month we will be sharing trivia to celebrate the diversity and the beauty of Latino culture. Once I read the question, please call extension 456 to answer. In honor of Latino History Month, the 15th one to call with a correct answer wins the Golden Puma for the day. Please remember to dial extension 456 after I read the question. Here we go. Selena Quintanilla was widely renowned as the queen of what music? Caller 15 at extension 456. Congratulations to our counseling department. You have won the Golden Puma. LPS Richmond, let's have a great day on purpose.
Yeah, you can play Silent Great. Okay, so this is turning into a long video, but that's okay. Alright, cool. Thank you very much. Sweet, got a new computer. Anyway, we're gonna just keep rolling with this video. I was working while the announcements were going on. Congrats to the counseling department for winning the Golden Puma. I was gonna say salsa, but I don't know. Anyways, Quintanilla. That used to be an author. Anyways, a company I used to work for. But anyway, we translated both D and E via directed line segment W. Now, what you're gonna find is that D prime E prime is congruent to D E. And then because they both were translated by line segment W, then E to E prime is going to be the same length as D to D prime. The crazy cool thing is that those two lines are also parallel. Here's how you label two parallel lines. And these two are parallel. Way cool, huh? Now, that's all the questions for number 2. But let's look at that shape. What kind of shape did you draw? Well, it's a 4-sided polygon, which is a quadrilateral. So we know that. What properties does it have? Well, opposite sides are congruent, and opposite sides are parallel. That's pretty cool. So opposite sides congruent, opposite sides parallel. Pretty sweet. What else could we say? Oh, opposite angles are congruent. So if you have a quadrilateral four-sided polygon where opposite sides are congruent, opposite sides are parallel, and opposite angles are congruent. Does anybody know what that quadrilateral is called? There's a specific name for it. So I'm going to give you R, S, T, L, and E. Anybody know it? That's a parallelogram. It's known as a parallelogram, which we're going to be learning more about. But there's a parallelogram right here. And that is lesson 12. Now let's look at the summary, and then we're going to jump into the cool down, which is kind of cool. It's almost the same kind of question. But the lesson 12 summary says a translation, one of the three rigid transformation, slides a figure in a given direction for a given distance with no rotation. The distance and direction is given by a directed line segment. Like V is your directed line segment. The arrow of the directed line segment specifies the direction of the translation and the length of the directed line segment from here to here specifies how far the figure gets translated. So, I always use construction companies as an example. Imagine you're the CEO of a construction company, and 880 Bissell equals LPS. And because LPS just got ranked by US News as one of the top schools in the country, people are starting to copy us because everybody wants to be a top school in the country, right? So maybe you are the CEO of the construction company that built LPS. You built LPS. LPS just got a big award. Now people are calling you because you built LPS, and they're saying, hey, we want the similar building. We want the same school building. Because if you notice, the classrooms are awesome here. So say you want the same school building at LPS, but you want to move it to Berkeley. And there's a certain point in Berkeley where you want the front door to be. Guess what? Ever heard of latitude and longitude? Ever heard of latitude and longitude? So you built LPS in Richmond, which has a latitude longitude, and you need to move it to Berkeley, which has a latitude and longitude. Couldn't you just copy LPS and move it by directed line segment to Berkeley? I don't know. Maybe you could, because you now know about translations via directed line segments. You can also translate 3D figures like buildings. Anyway, there's always that, why would I ever need to know this? Well, if you look around, there's copies of things everywhere. There's houses, there's, well, I'm going to stop with my examples, but look at all the houses around the school. A lot of them are like very, very, very similar, and they need to work within city legislation. So maybe you need to build the same exact house 500 feet away. Anyways, construction's always a great opportunity to bring real life things. So anyway, more precisely, a translation of a point A along a directed line segment T is a transformation to A prime so that the directed line segment A prime, this one, is parallel to T. Everything's going to be parallel. All right, here's a translation of 3 points. So CDE, same one up here, by directed line segment V. Notice every single point, go point by point, gets translated by V. Notice that the directed line segments, this one, and this one, are each parallel to this one, going in the same direction as V, the same length as V. What if you join the military? Maybe you make it to officer, and maybe you have to command Marines. Where to go to win a war? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you got Ethan, Derek, and Charles. They're all in 3 different spots, and they're strategically placed in one battlefield, but they need to get over here. You need to tell Ethan, Derek, and Charles, go this distance and direction to be strategically located in another location. There's another one. Military battlefield. Construction company. There's so many uses for these things. And it's all based on what you learn in geometry. All right, let's look at the cooldown. I'm going pretty long here. Speed up. That long video is kind of a lot, but hey, it's better to go slow than fast. Okay, this learning takes time. All right, defining translations. So we know about translations, directed line segment, parallel. Priya, she's trying. She tried to translate ABC by the directed line segment from D to E. She knows something went wrong though, because she knows that the new image isn't congruent to the original figure. So the image is not congruent to triangle ABC. The image is known as A prime, B prime, C prime. is not congruent to ABC. So she knows that. So that's cool. She recognizes her mistake. Or she recognizes there is a mistake. Hang on, someone's knocking. Let's see who that is. Alright. Probably someone just wanted water or something. But anyway, Priya's like, alright. Tried this translation, but I know I got it wrong. Okay, she's right. She did get it wrong. But she did one thing well. What is one idea that Priya probably understands about translations? Well, you see all these 3.5s? She probably knows that you need to translate by the same distance. And specifically, she knows that she needs to translate each point by the same distance. So she knows that. That's clear. But what is one idea that she doesn't understand? Well, all the directed line segments need to be what? What's the word? All directed line segments need to be parallel to DE. And these are not. If you look closely, this one is not parallel to this. So she's a little off. This one's definitely not parallel. So lastly, they force you to do it. So, use the same patty paper. Don't waste paper. It's really important. D, E, 3.5. Don't try to trace the line. Use a straight edge, because straight edge is even better than your tracing. Okay, so I've got DE traced, which is a good step. Now I know it's got to be parallel, because Priya made a mistake, and she's recognizing it, which is really cool. But we got to translate every point by 3.5, and they all have to be parallel. So there is A prime. Like this one, I'm gonna let you eye it because it takes so long to draw parallel lines. I don't want you to waste too much time. If you can come close on the parallel lines, and close like is arbitrary, like it's gotta be close. Like that's pretty dang close to being parallel. That's gonna be B prime. Now let's draw a new triangle. Looks good. Color it in. Hey, black and orange. Come on, Giants, get it together. Make the playoffs. It's way more fun if you do. For us teachers, anyway. Alright, so there's your new figure. Now let's just see if I pass the eye test. Well, you'll see me saying that on your feedback on your tests from quiz 1. Doesn't pass the eye test. As long as I did a good job of confirming the lines of parallel. Should look something like this. So there you go. Go Giants. Make the playoffs. And hopefully win the World Series. Now, to all you Tony Gwynn fans out there, go Padres in 2024. Padres are my number one because of Tony Gwynn. Giants are my number two because of 2010, 2012, and 2014. They won 3-time champs. And I got to watch them all. That Royals Game 7 with Bumgarner, Madison Bumgarner. Instant classic. Anyways, go Padres in 2024. RIP Tony Gwynn. And come on, Giants, make the playoffs. All right, have a good day. Bye.